to another Fight of the Night review, the first one of the year from the first UFC card of the year. I was worried that we were going to get one, and we do, so now I have to do more work. Anyway, this one took place at the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates, and the chances are it's going to be there for a little while right now, because there's a few events that are scheduled to be there. And also, this was the first UFC card in a while to actually have a crowd. I know, due to the COVID restrictions, they couldn't have a full house. In this case, in the case of this venue, I think it's 18,000. They only had about 2,000, so wasn't a lot of people. But we got to hear crowd reactions, and it works because the fight I'm going to be talking about was the main event between former UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. And well, let's run this through. So the fight starts, round one, and as always it is very much a feeling out process. The two are trying to get a feel for each other's rhythms. They start landing a couple of strikes back and forth, specifically leg kicks, and then Max Holloway, as we know, he's a fighter who likes to build up volume over time, and he gets better as he goes along, whereas Calvin Kattar is much more of a slow starter himself. Max didn't really bother waiting. He immediately started going for it. He saw the opportunities and he went for them. He went for combos, lefts, rights, hooks, throwing brilliant uppercuts as well, getting to the body a lot. His body work in this fight was amazing. And yeah, I mean, Kattar was hanging in there, bless his soul, but round one, I mean, okay, this is going to be a spoiler. Max does win this fight by unanimous decision, and it's very lopsided. But I still have to do as much as I can to review this one. But that doesn't mean that Kattar was completely out of it, as I'll discuss in a couple of later rounds. But yeah, round one definitely goes to Holloway. His combos were on point. He had some really good head movement as well to avoid a lot of Kattar strikes. He threw some amazing shots, but the body kicks, and there was a great knee to the body as well at the middle that landed beautifully too. So yeah, I have to give the majority of round one to Max Holloway. He was getting a lot off, and Kattar was getting next to nothing, sadly. Then we get to round two, and it is mostly the same situation. Max starts walking Kattar down a bit more, lands a lot more strikes. He's got more of a vicious style, which is more than I'm used to seeing Max do. Now, Max is a clean fighter, and he puts out volume, and that's one of the reasons I love him so much. Also, the fact that he's just genuinely a nice bloke. But you don't really see this vicious side of him often, and dude went for it. He again was opening up with the combos. Kattar was landing a couple of counter strikes. He was starting to come back, and there was a moment where Holloway had Kattar against the cage, and Kattar did manage to get a clinch, but it was reversed, and Holloway, he just kept going with the combos and had Kattar badly stunned, and then fucking wings a right elbow, like a right overhead elbow, right to Calvin's skull. Lands like 4 of those before this round ends. Cracks Kattar open. Like, blood is pouring down his face. And then Kattar manages to find an opening to escape. Holloway follows him. Ends it with a head kick that badly stunned Kattar. And I feel like if there were an extra 10-15 seconds on this round, Holloway might have won by TKO. But that was not the case. Obviously, rounds have a set time limit. And the ref did have to stop this, he had to get in between them as the round ended. But Kattar, despite having the crap cracked out of his skull, basically, and blood pouring down his face, he smiled and gave Max a fist bump at the end of round two. That was fun, even though I'm getting my ass kicked. Respect to you, Calvin. Respect. Next is round three, and the two are starting to get a bit more respect for each other now. Holloway does pretty much start opening up with those combos of his again. He does catch Calvin a couple of times, but Calvin starts actually fighting back. He lands a really good right hand, and Daniel Cormier pointed something out in commentary, and I feel like this is something that Calvin should have followed up on. When Calvin starts first, he's getting more shots off. He lands a really good combo in round three, even sort of catches Max with a good overhand right in round three, but it is still very much Max's fight. It's a bit more of an even round, though, and Max doesn't put out the same output that he does in the first 2 rounds, but he's still going mental, still throwing those really good 1-2 combos, landing viciously, starting to bust Calvin up a bit more, not just the cut on his head, that started to bleed again, but causing a bit of swelling on him as well. Even Holloway, after eating one of the shots from Kattar, got a hematoma on one of his eyes, so yeah, that was interesting. That Kattar didn't really get to land much, but what he did land was very, very hard. However, as even as round three was, again, very much in favour of Max. By this point it was a guarantee that he won this one. And even looking at the scorecards, which I don't normally do this, but here's what the scorecards were by the end of the fight. 50-43, 50-43, and 50-42. Lopsided as all bollocks, right? But, I mean, credit to Calvin for staying in this one. Like, yeah. But yeah, Max absolutely took round 3, no doubt. Round 4 begins and Max is putting out the same sort of vicious output that he did in round 2 specifically. He was following up a lot more, landing really good combos, walking Kattar down. There was a moment where he started cracking him with those overhead elbows again, which were surprisingly not there in round 3. And he lands a really good body kick too that really badly catches Kattar. How Kattar was not throwing up by the end of this, considering the amount of punishment he took to his torso area, is beyond me. That is some fortitude that I will never have, and I will only dream of having. But that aside, yeah, Max took round 4. He swept this entire fucking fight, if I'm being honest. But Kattar did land a couple of shots in round 4. He wasn't quite the same as round 3, as a success in round 3, but in round 4 he did still land some pretty good stuff. But yeah, Holloway definitely walked away with it. Really good combos, crisp as all hell, really good boxing. Starting to boost Kattar up a bit more. His eyes were like starting to bleed a bit more from cuts, not from like weird reasons. You know, from natural causes like being punched in the face. I would consider that a very natural cause that results in getting your eyes making them bleed. English, I good at it. And then finally we get to round 5, and much like the first 4, Max took it. It's very difficult, like, to talk about a fight like this, especially considering that I was spoiled who the winner is, and obviously you've probably seen the fight by now, so you know who won it. But it was just so one-sided, and Max, again, completely sort of snapped it in round 5. Really good combo work. His boxing was amazing. The body work was great. He started throwing more leg kicks in round 5. He landed more body kicks. There was a nice body upcut he landed around 4 or 5. It was one of the two. I only watched the fight a few hours ago and I don't remember. But yeah, it was one-sided, all super duper in favour of Max, and by the time it was all over, he did get the win, got his hand raised, but Calvin, showed a lot of respect too. The two actually respected each other a lot. Even with Holloway, there was a moment in round 3 where he dodged a lot of Calvin's drugs and did a little robot dance, and it reminded me of that time Cody Garbrandt dodged a lot of Dominic Cruz's strikes a few years ago. It was kind of that funny, yeah. And yeah, in round 5, Holloway was sort of... he was actually sort of having a nice little chat with the commentary team in the middle of his fight, yeah, I should finish him. It was something along those lines. Or yeah, the referee should have stopped it. And I was just thinking, it would have been a lot easier to bear if he did. But, yeah, Max, 100% deserved the win. And he needed this win too after losing 2 in a row against Alexander Volkanovski and losing the featherweight title to him. Yeah, not really a lot else I can say that hasn't been said at this point. So, good fight. Not gonna... It might as well go in my top of the year. It's the first fight of the year. It might as well be the best. But, there's more. There's tons more events. There's one this Wednesday. Christ. And absolutely, there is no doubt in my mind that Max deserved the win. He put out a lot more. His striking was a lot better, both to the head and to the body. And Calvin hung in there as well as he could, but really wasn't enough to give him enough of an opening to make it seem all that competitive. It was very lopsided. There was probably a better fight on the card that should have won fight of the night. That was a lot more even. But for what it was, pretty solid, really entertaining, and it was just so nice to have a crowd back. I miss that thrill of the reaction, that intensity. So, man, it's just good to have them back. Anyway, I will see you most likely on Tuesday for another... no, Monday, because I'm streaming a lot more in the weekdays now. Not weekends, I'm taking weekends off. And I will see you all, most likely tomorrow, for a stream, and then Tuesday after that for PPW versus AVW coming back off of Capture the Crown 3, which was a great show. And as always, by the way, that show is up on YouTube now if you want to watch it. Now I can do my outro as always. Thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye bye.